Hello and welcome to yet another segment of Kev Head Tonight, right here on RBTV. You know, when I think about it, all of us are just what? We're people, aren't we? What are we? We're people who need people. And we're all the luckiest people in the world. Who sang that, Rachel Bennett?
Barbara Streisand.
Barbara Streisand. We welcome Rachel Bennett Jr. to our show.
Yeah.
And we welcome Joe Marino. Joe Marino, a senior here at RB.
Thanks.
And Joe, you're wearing our band blue, our royal blue, RB blue. Thank you. Welcome. And we have two of my very favorite people, good friends of mine. We have the Coxes. We have Debbie and Paul Cox. And they both have music degrees, more advanced than mine. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later as well. So we have a lot to look forward to right here on RBTV. But first, does that ring a bell? Imagine me and you, I do. I think about you day and night. It's only right to think about the girl you love and hold her tight. So happy together. If I should call you up, invest a dime, and you say you belong to me, and ease my mind, imagine how the world would be so very fine, so happy together. Here we go! I can't see my love in nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, baby, the skies will be blue for all my life. Me and you and me, no matter how they toss the dice, it has to be. The only one for me is you, and you for me, so happy together. I can't see my love in nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, baby, the skies will be blue for all my life. And then it goes on, and what was it you were saying before the show?
How is the weather?
Yeah, they said, how is the weather?
How is the weather?
How is the weather? And do you remember the group that sang that song?
The Turtles.
You are good. The Turtles.
Wow.
A group.
Not the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right,
Just
this
the
was-
Turtles.
This was long before,
Plain
right?
old Turtles.
And it was a group called the Turtles.
The Turtles.
A group called the Turtles. My gosh. Anyway, that song still is alive today. A lot of my students here at RB know it. Not because I taught it to them, but they had heard it before on the radio or their MP3 players.
Or the
Osmosis.
Or their phonographs, that's right. But speaking of the weather, you know what? When I walked in today, I was worried about my hair because because it was drizzling and raining, and I thought of that song from one of my favorite shows. Do you know this one? It's soon it's gonna rain. I can feel it. Soon it's gonna rain. I can tell. Soon it's gonna rain. What are we gonna do? What show is that from? Anybody?
The Fantastics.
The Fantastics, one of the greatest shows. And do you know that The Fantastics was the longest running show in New York for many, many years, I think, until
Cats.
Cats,
Until
right?
Cats, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, you know musical theater, don't you, Rachel?
Yeah.
From the Fantastics, do you remember any of the other songs from there? Rachel, do you?
I remember one that I can't remember the name of.
Do you remember
Do you remember it?
that we could try to remember the kind of September when life was oh and oh so mellow? Paul?
I
Try to remember,
and
if you remember, then follow, 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 follow. Beautiful song. That song still makes me cry. It's one of the most beautiful songs from a musical. Although there are so many, that's arguable, isn't it? 'Cause that show also has They Were You. When the moon was young, when the month was May, when my moon was set for the holiday, I saw shining lights. Oh, I forget the chords, but that show has a lot of great tunes. Anyway, so we sang Soon It's Gonna Rain. We've talked about the Fantastics. Paul, what do you know about that show? Why do you know all these tunes so well?
You're hitting all the spots that I know. I played the girl's father on that show.
Oh, you're a man of the stage. That means you're a thespian.
Yeah, oh yes.
Does that mean that you are, in fact, a thespian?
A master thespian.
And what state were you in when you did this show?
I was in the state of Kentucky.
The state of Kentucky, don't you know it? The bluegrass state, I've always called it. I think that might catch on.
That's right.
Well, they're telling me that it's time to end segment 1. If you can believe that. Don't go away. We'll be right back with the Fantastics and these wonderful people. Aren't you?
Oh, we are.
You're people who need. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Right here on Kev Head Tonight. Welcome back to segment 2 of Kev Head Tonight. I'm so glad to have these special people on my show. We have Rachel Bennett. We have Joe Marino, one of my favorite all-time kids in band, and I've been here for how many years? 47 or something?
I think around
Hired one.
I think around 200.
200 years. You
Probably
think?
probably before the revolution.
Ah, Joe, you're just teasing me, aren't you? Because we've always teased each other. Anyway, and then we have Paul Cox, and I should say to our TV land, to our Kev headers out there, that this is Dr. Paul Cox, not Mr. Cox, but Doctor, right?
It is. That's
And
true.
you guys live in Riverside. This is Debbie.
Not doctor,
But not doctor, but master's degree,
Master's.
right?
Right.
You know,
Mistress.
as we were waiting to begin
not mistress
segment,
either.
what? I'm sorry.
He said mistress, and I said, no, not mistress either.
No, not mistress. You guys are legally
He's
married.
a doctor.
true.
He delivers amine aspirin.
I bet.
Yeah.
Doctor of musical what? Doctor of musical.
Philosophy and musical.
So you have a
musicology.
you have a PhD.
He is a PhD.
Wow, which means that you wrote a dissertation.
That's true.
And we both typed it. We spent 2 weeks typing that sucker.
What do you mean typing? I don't know what this
we
word
used to
is.
use typewriters before
Tells you how old we are.
Yeah. We shouldn't talk about it. It does tell
I
us.
know. I know. Rachel's saying, "What is a typewriter?" She doesn't
You
understand.
didn't have a laptop?
Clickety clack. There were no
No.
computer. Only the
No.
banks had a computer.
That's the Leroy Anderson
Yeah.
typewriter
Typewriter.
song. But anyway, so you helped him with his dissertation, but you have a master's degree from
Right.
IU, right?
So I typed my
Illinois.
thesis from Illinois. Yeah.
But your undergrad is from
Indiana.
University, and your undergrad is from
Georgetown College.
Georgetown College, but your
In Kentucky.
doctoral is from where?
It's Indiana.
Indiana
Yeah.
And
University.
his master's
in
is from
Bloomington.
Indiana, too.
And
Yeah.
master's from Bloomington as well. And Joe, where do you want to begin your academic career now that you're graduating from RBHS?
I'm planning on going to Columbia down in Chicago.
Oh, that's great.
That's Columbia, the gem of the ocean. So that's what made me think
Well,
of that.
it's the gem of the lake.
Gem of the lake.
Gem
You're going
of
to be
the
right
lake,
on
so
Lake
that's
Michigan.
close
Joe,
enough.
you're going to love it down there at Columbia.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Good for you. What are you going to study, Joey?
Film production.
Film production. So have you ever heard of a great actress named Barbara Streisand?
Yes.
She just recently won the American Film Institute Lifetime Achievement Award. Joe, do you happen to know what, since you want to study film, do you happen to know what her first film was and the movie that she subsequently won Best Actress for?
Funny Girl.
Wow! Points for Joe! That's right, it was a movie called Funny Girl. She had just starred on Broadway in the role of Fanny Brice, and then she made the film, same name, Funny Girl, and won Best Actress, tying with, anybody?
Ty?
She tied for Best Actress, 1968, with what great actress? And in her acceptance speech, she said, I am honored to be in such great company as Katharine Hepburn. Yeah, she and Katharine Hepburn. The Lion in Winter.
The Lion in Winter,
Lion
that's
in
right.
Winter, yeah.
Wow.
And Rachel Bennett, Jr., beautiful voice. Give me a song. Name a song you'd like to sing. When I think of
home, I think of a place where there's love all around.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It was home. I wish I was back there.
With the things that I'm knowing. Oh, yeah.
Aw.
Barbra Streisand actually sings that on her most
I
recent
know.
album called
Release
Release Me,
Yeah.
which is songs which were in her vault for the last 50 years or whatever. And she's released. And Home is how she ends the album. So anyway, Rachel, you're going to study music theater, right?
Yes.
Do you have any idea what school you might want to go to for that?
I'm thinking of either University of Illinois or Indiana.
Well, if you want to go to Indiana, you're going to have to talk to these two.
Well, I went to both of those
And
schools.
Debbie went to both.
Yeah.
Mrs. Cox went to both Indiana and Illinois. So here's a good reference for you. You know, that was kind of a serious discussion that time, wasn't it?
Very
I
serious.
think during our third segment tonight, I think we're going to lighten things up a little bit with a little Name That Tune. What do you think? So don't go away. Right here on Kev Head tonight, we hope you're enjoying our show with Rachel, Joey, Paul, and Debbie. Wow, welcome back to segment 3 of Kev Head tonight with my guests, special guests tonight, Debbie, Paul Cox, Joe Marino, and Rachel Bennett. All of Riverside, right? You all live in Riverside. You know, I guess I should brag a little bit. I live in a mansion myself in Forest Park.
Ooh.
You know,
An honorable mansion.
an honorable mansion. That was good. I live in an honorable mansion.
The sign over the door says, La Maison de la Casa House.
Which is
The
roughly
house of the
translated
house,
in
right?
Venezuelan as what?
The house of the house.
The house of the house.
La Maison de la Casa House.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, very
Would you make a
exclusive.
sign for me that we
Of
can
course,
put up
Sure.
during
Or-
one
or-
of the many
oh,
entrances?
You could have one that says Luxury Manor with a crown on
Luxury
it.
with a
Luxury
crown.
Manor.
Well, you know, sometimes
Purple is the royal color.
the royal
Yeah,
color.
that's right.
Sometimes we fantasize about those kinds of things. Sometimes we live it. But quite often what we have are visions. And these two chords are from Stevie Wonder, one of the great talents of our time. Have you heard of Stevie Wonder?
Yes.
He wrote this lyric. People hand in hand, have I lived to see the milk and honey land, where hate's a dream and love forever stands? Or is this a vision in my mind? Isn't that beautiful?
It is.
That's from his, this is from his 1973 album, which was what we used to call those albums.
That's
Before
right, album.
before Blackberries and
MP3.
Blue Cherries
Turn it
and
over, it got to about 20
Yeah.
minutes, and then the needle would go.
yep, and then you turn it
You have to turn it
around.
over.
Anyway, I love that.
And every
Stevie
time you-
Wonder. I've never done that song before. I just wanted to
Remember how
share
every
it.
time you played your record, you were killing it a little bit because the stylus would eat a little bit of the vinyl.
Are you
So
aware that Joe that
it's
they
like
had
a fairy
needles?
tale, you know. you're listening to this beautiful music and you'd love to hear it again, but you know that every time you're doing it, you're messing up the record, so the next time you play it, it won't be quite as good.
Yeah.
One fine day, you'll look at me. Remember that?
No.
That's a Carole King tune. So when I thought of records, I thought of
Oh, yeah.
the 3 copies that I know I bought. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down on me. I feel my heart start to tremble in whenever you're around. Carole King's Tapestry, I think I probably went through 3 of those albums because every one of the songs
Oh,
on
they were
that
so
album
good. That was
were
a
so
great
good. It's a landmark album,
And then
Joe
what about
and
You
Rachel.
Got a Friend? Remember
Yeah,
that?
oh. When you're down and troubled and you need a helping hand and nothing, oh, nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running, oh running, to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. Oh, and then James Taylor sang it. Carole King initially wrote it. Profound, and I'm so glad you guys know that. Joe and Rachel both know that. Remember that that was Carole King during a magical time, 1970, 71. Yeah.
That was a great album. I should buy that on CD.
Yeah, we really, yeah. And one night we'll just have a sing-along, kind of like we're doing tonight. Before it's too late, baby, now it's too late. I forget the chords, but remember she sang that, and then she sang, will you still love me tomorrow? Will you, is this a lasting treasure? Anyway, we'll sing more of Carole King and other singer-songwriters, Ellie Greenwich for one. When we return, don't go away. We'll be right here on Kev Head Tonight. Hope you're enjoying the show. And we're gonna get married, going to the chapel, and we're gonna get married. Gee, I really love you, and we're gonna get married, going to the chapel. You know, my censor, I have a censor, I guess, indicated that we had already done that song on a previous show, but I chose to do it again because it's such a great song, and it was written by, do you know who wrote it? Not Carole King. Many people think that Carole King wrote that, but my censor probably is thinking, I know. He's probably thinking he knows. That would be Mr. Gary Prokes, who's the producer of the program.
Did he write it?
Anyway, but I digress. No, he didn't write it.
Okay.
But nobody knows.
You didn't write it either.
Justin Bieber.
No, honey. When that song was out, there was no Justin Bieber.
What?
No.
Justin Bieber was not around. It was another famous female songwriter. But wait, no, he's not. He's a
famous female
well,
songwriter.
a famous female songwriter by the name of Ellie Greenwich.
Oh,
The
okay.
fabulous
All right.
Ellie Greenwich.
Mention that.
Remember her?
Yeah.
Anyway, you know, all during my years of taping the show for Mr. Prokes, coming out here on Monday evenings, night after night after night, enjoying being with my guests, you know, and giving up my private students and all the things that, anyway, I digress. I've always dreamed of having a panel like this on the show, and it reminds me of this song. I have dreamed that your arms are lovely. I have dreamed what a joy you'll be. And then I have dreamed every word you'll whisper when you're close to me. And then how you look. It's a great song. Anybody know what show that's from?
The King and I.
The King and I. And do you know what else is from that show?
I
Can you
whistle
name-
a happy tune.
Whenever I feel afraid, I hold my head up high and whistle a happy tune, so no one will suspect I'm afraid. While shivering in
my
me
timbers.
in me timbers, arg.
I
While
was
shivering in me timbers,
timbers.
I strike a helpless pose and whisper a happy tune,
And say, "Arr!"
so no one will suppose I'm afraid. Make believe, whatever. That's the opening of The King and I. That's when Anna arrives in Siam with her
little boy.
little boy.
Yeah.
And I have dreamed, of course. Now, that was one of the very first musicals, and I did bring the score. I directed the pit for this, a wonderful pit down in Joliet years ago. Anyway, that's one of the first music.
Not for the inmates, though, right?
Not for the not at
inmates.
Stateville,
Okay.
but at Joliet West
Oh,
High
okay.
School.
Oh.
But anyway,
Just wanted to establish that.
Anyway, that show it was one of the first Broadway shows to end very sad. It was one of the first Broadway shows that didn't say, "Oh, you've always got to have a happy ending." No, not in The King and I. And can anyone name another musical that, little after that?
Carousel.
Carousel.
That was very sad.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. Then it goes, what's that, Rachel? What did it do there? It went from major to minor. Yeah. Carousel, and then another one about a Jewish village.
Fiddler on the Roof.
On
That's
a
right, that wasn't happening.
Tevka, on a Tevka, tumble down, burn about, on a Tevka. Sweet little village, little town of mine. That's a great show, Fiddler on the Roof, but boy, you know what? It goes by so fast, all of our discussions. So don't go away. We'll be right back for segment number, what is it? Who's kept track? Segment number 5 of Kev Head Tonight, right here on RBTV. Don't go away. Wings. Welcome back to segment number 5. We were trying to figure out, that's a song called On Eagle's Wings. I've done it at the Catholic Church before. I've done it in the Methodist Church as well.
So it's not from a show?
No, it's a
Oh.
beautiful, beautiful.
You know, it sounds like
hymn.
it could be, though, doesn't it?
Oh, it does.
It does.
And he will raise you up on because the co-producer, Mr. Prokes, had just asked me to do something by the Eagles, and I was immediately reminded of this beautiful sacred song called On Eagle's Wings. But before I forget, this has been a tremendous show tonight, and I'd like to thank all of you for being with me. Rachel Bennett, Joe Marino, Dr. Paul Cox, and Debbie Cox. But we have a real illustrious crew. We have T.J. Ketchmark. Are you aware that T.J. Ketchmark is our producer?
No.
Here I've been calling somebody else, the producer, when in fact it was T.J. Ketchmark, and he has. Join us, leave your cheese to sour. Do you know that one, Rachel?
I don't.
That's called Magic to Do, and it's from one of my favorite shows. Join us, Pippin.
Pippin.
It's from the show called Pippin.
Oh.
And as you know, TJ, our producer, is a fantastic magician. We're going to see him on the Ed Sullivan Show one day. Okay?
Well,
that was
something-
kind of a
something
joke.
like the Ed Sullivan.
That was kind of a joke.
His time is
But
Because
is Pippin about a magician? I never
no,
saw that
Pippin, but there's a song called Magic to Do,
Oh,
which
okay.
the people of the kingdom all sing it. What era does that remind you of?
Carole King. Sounds like Carole King.
That's just ingrained in us, isn't it?
Yeah.
The 70s. Anyway, we have an illustrious crew here. We have Elvis. His name really is Elvis. And we have Mr. Fritsch. And we have Miss McKinney. We have Mr. Bolton. And we have our one-liner. He knows, he has a whole book of, or what we call a blog. I know the terms. Nathan has a blog of pickup lines, how to meet a young girl. Nathan, can you give us one of them? Just a nice one, you know. Like if I told you you...
Okay, a good one?
Yes, tell us one of your famous pickup lines. Okay.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Nathan.
Hi, Nathan. Nice to meet you.
You can call me later.
Oh. You can call me. My name is Nathan. You can.
The presumption
you can-
of familiarity.
That's right. You
Yes.
can call me later. That reminds me of one of my favorite songs from this year. It's called "Call Me Tonight If You'd Like to Talk."
Oh, right.
Call me tonight if you'd like to talk. Right? Who sang that, Rachel?
Carly Rae Jepsen.
Carly Rae Jepsen, and it's called "Call Me Tonight, Please, Honey, if you want to talk to me on the telephone." Or text me or something, right?
Phonograph.
Joe, do you know that song? Call Me Maybe is what it's really called. Call
Not
Me.
exactly.
Well, it's. You guys know it?
No,
Do you
but
know
it's-
this one?
I understand the concept, though.
Do you know this one?
He does.
What is it?
The one you sang at Jessica's wedding.
Oh, Jessica's wedding. Oh, that's
When
3
I
years
fall
ago.
in love, it will be
forever.
or I'll never fall in love. In the restless world such as this is, love is ended before it's begun, and too many moonlight kisses.
Yeah,
That's from the 1950s. That's a beautiful song. And that was used in a great movie, which you may or may not have heard of, Joe. It's called Sleepless in Seattle. Have you heard of that movie?
I think I'm familiar.
It was a movie made by Nora Ephron, who just died last year.
That was Meg Ryan, I think.
Meg
in
Ryan
that
was
one.
in it.
But who was the guy?
Who was the guy in that show? I forget. I'm going to pull my hair out trying to think of who that is, Joey.
Yeah, what's his face?
Oh, it was Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Oh.
It was Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, and Nora Ephron brought that song back because it's such a profound song. Rachel, can you sing a little bit of this for me? Of our own offense.
A grill out on the patio.
Disposal in the sink. A washer and a dryer and an ironing machine. Joe, you know this, don't you?
Yes.
In the tract house that we share somewhere that's green. Somewhere that's green, and it's from what show, Joe? Little Shop of Horrors, God. And that's what that's from.
actually-
Anyway, they're telling me again, you know, I could do this all night. I've loved giving up these evenings over the years. to come out to RB and produce, and not producing, but actually sitting at the piano and enjoying my guests. And tonight has been no exception. We've had Rachel Bennett, Joe Marino, Dr. Paul Cox, and Mrs. Debbie Cox. You guys have 2 sons that were in the band with us.
True.
That's
2
right.
Cox boys. What were their names?
Sam?
Sam
And Ben.
Sam and Ben.
Right.
And it seems to me that there was something special about them. What was it?
Well,
Or what is it?
Well, Sam, he likes
They're-
to portray the sexy sax man.
That's
Yeah,
right. Sam
takes off
does the
his shirt.
sexy sax man, and Ben played trumpet. But they're what? They're
Eagle Scouts.
they're Eagle Scouts,
And
and
they're
they are
twins.
twins.
Right.
Well, we've had a great time. Because after all, we're just what? We're all just people. Don't go away. People who need people. And we're just what? With